Hello there. All right, it is time for another video. Today I thought that I would show you how to make Gigi's sweet chili. And if you ever make this for anybody else, I'm just saying they're gonna wig out because there's sugar in it. And like, it's not regular chili. It's not Texas chili. It's got beans. It's got sugar. It's a whole nother thing. But it's also amazing. And I have tweaked Gigi's recipe a little bit, so I will go over that stuff when we get rolling. So I love this because you can keep all the things on hand if you have a pound of meat in the freezer. So hamburger, couple cans of kidney beans, and tomato soup. I use the Progresso because we can eat that. Grandma always used 2 cans of Campbell's, and then some chili powder and brown sugar and an onion and some optional things. All right, let's get going. First, onion. A couple things about cutting up onions. If you chop through it, leave the root end on and cut it in half, and it's really easy to kind of grab and pull the outer layer off. And you want to keep the root intact. It makes it a lot easier to chop this up. And then I am going to have a few different tips as far as storing leftover stuff and different ingredients you might not need all of. For example, if you have a gigantic onion and you don't need all of that for your batch. Some tips on how to store those things so you can have them for later. Come on, baby. One more peel. That's all we need. All right, I lied. We need more than one. Come on. All right, that's the last one. Awesome. Okay, so make sure you can see this. So if you leave that root end on, then you can just cut through and make like 1/4 inch slices. So you're going down almost to the end, but you're not cutting all the way through, so it stays intact like that. And then you can cut across. A couple of times. And then when you slice through, and you've got your onion is all chopped up perfectly. Just like that. The other one, and this onion is pretty hunkin', so I probably am not going to use all of it. Like a normal size yellow onion usually does the trick. These were like softball size, so we don't need quite all of that. Keep your hands out of the way when you're doing that. So whenever I'm cooking like that, I will always let the, I'll chop the whole onion up. And then to keep it for later, without stinking up your whole fridge, because that is a thing when you're keeping onion. If you put it in a Ziploc bag, and this is the important part, wrap it in foil tightly. Ziploc bag, squeeze out all the air, and then wrap it up and seal it up in foil and keep it in the freezer. You can go straight to the stove with it like that. Pan going. And it's a great way to have onion on hand so you don't have to chop it up later. because you can cook with it just fine like that. So I'm going to use probably 3/4 of this. Set that one aside while we wait for the pan to heat up. I will get this onion packed up. There's a lot of solo cooking tips in today's video. All right, so I'm just like squeezing all the air out of that. Zip it closed, and then wrap it with some foil. And here's another thing: when you buy a pound of butter, it can get funky smelling in the fridge. So when you get the box, take a piece of foil, wrap it up in here. Every time you pull out a cube, wrap it back up, and then when you're done with that box, then you have a perfectly fine piece of foil, which is great for this. It's just the right size to put your onions in. So I'm going to fold that over really well, fold over the ends, and now you can keep your onions like that, and it will not smell up your refrigerator, because even if they're in the freezer, your fridge will stink. All right, and then I'm going to unpack the hamburger, get that ready. All right. That was a pound. I'm gonna chop it up. This is a meat chopper thing. You can also just use a spatula. I saw somebody using one of these. I thought that's kind of a cool idea. And it does do it quicker. Meat bits do stick to the bottom, and I'm kind of not thrilled about that, but anyway. All right, we're gonna salt and pepper the meat. That's probably like a teaspoon. Some good grains of pepper on there. And I'm not really looking to like crispy brown it, just kind of. And now that it's started to release a little bit of the fat, I'm going to get the onions in there. So we want to get those softened up before we get all the other ingredients in there. So this is obviously going to make a lot. What's great about that is it's enough to make for the meal that you're eating, and then, you know, have another dinner, and then you can pack up the rest and keep it in the freezer for lunches later. Kind of add to the freezer stash. It's always nice to have some variety in the freezer to take to work for lunches. All right, that's coming along. So I put in the chili powder at 2 occasions. I put some in now as soon as the meat is brown, and then I'll add some more after we get all the saucy parts in. I think it's nice to kind of get a little bit of that flavor kind of in the meat as well as in the sauce of the chili. And I'm going to give that another couple minutes. I'm not going to bore you, so we'll come back in a minute. All right, we're going to go ahead and give this a little check now. It's on really low heat at this point, and this is kind of the amount of bubble that you want. It's just kind of doing its thing. But you do need to stir it like every 10 minutes or so it doesn't stick to the bottom. And what I'm looking for is I want it to be, you know, thickened up considerably. I want the onions to be nice and soft. Basically just letting the flavors do their thing. There's a little blob of tomato paste there. Alright. Looking pretty good. Something in another 10 minutes and we'll come back. All right, let's see where we're at. Oh yeah, yep, we're good. So it's good for it to be a little bit saucy on day one because it gets even better on day two. It thickens up and the flavors blend better. So I'm just gonna give it a little taste, see if it needs more chili powder, pepper, salt, whatever. I'm gonna say all of the above. More salt, more pepper, so that puts us at 4 tablespoons, which is a quarter of a cup. So again, you may not want it that zesty, but that's how much is going in mine. And I am gonna put in another scoop of brown sugar because I like mine extra sweet. I mean, if you're going sweet chili, you may as well do it up. There we go. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to turn off the heat, let that rest for about 10 minutes so it doesn't burn my face off. Scoop it up and eat it. Don't forget the Beano. For your coworkers and anybody who's around you, this is good. All right. Love you, buddy.